everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. We are back in the lovely studio. It truly is a home game, even though it's kind of weird to say, David, considering we do the remote thing from our home. But we are back in the studio. We have live calls that are going to be back at 2:45 p.m. Central today, 1-855-236-3228. Got a ton to get to. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you do donate in the comments and it's on topic at the time, it will get read. If not, it will get read at the end. Got a great show for you, as I mentioned, but I do want to start on a little bit of a somber note. If you keep up with college football, if you know, there's some people we really, really like in this space, and Kirk Herbstreit is one of them. His dog, Ben, who had been, I believe, in a battle with cancer or some illness, who he had taken on the road with him, is one of the coolest things we've seen this year, passed away recently. And, obviously you guys say your piece, but I've, got 5 dogs. I understand that relationship. I know you guys do as well. And for Kirk, yeah, I know you guys are hurting. He's in a better place. And I just send my condolences to the Herbstreit family. And again, if you have animals at the house, you understand that relationship because they're family.
What a life that dog got to live.
Unbelievable.
Going city to city.
Unbelievable.
The good news for everyone is all dogs go to heaven, my friend.
That is true. That is true.
Well, the simple thing is pets are family. They really are. It's like losing one of your family members. So, Ben, prayers out. Kirk, prayers out. Man, what a life. What a life for a dog.
Yep. Florida is going to keep Billy Napier around as their head coach in 2025. They just announced. We're going to break down our best bets for this weekend and give you our locks, leans, and dogs. And yes, Army's on mine. And we're going to preview the Ravens versus the Bengals in what should be a hell of a Thursday night football matchup. I'm Jake Crain, and it's Little Friday here at Crain & Company. So represent. In life, you have to make the smartest business decisions. They may not be the most popular at the time, but being able to see the long-term play in a what have you done for me lately society is a good characteristic. And by deciding not to fire Billy Napier, that is what I believe Athletic Director of Florida Scott Strickland is doing. So I want to list the best reasons why I think this is a logical and overall smart decision to keep Billy Napier at Florida. The first is financially. In a world where teams are having to fill the vault for NIL and we look to be on the verge of some sort of revenue sharing with players, paying a $26 million buyout and then having to shell out huge money for another coach is incredibly risky. The second is stability. I get that Napier hasn't had much success so far at Florida, and the fans should be pissed. You have a right to that. But bringing in a new coach to face next year's murderer's row of a schedule after your roster is going to get gutted like a fish, including possibly losing your star future quarterback in DJ Lagway, could leave you in a more disastrous spot than what you're in right now. Imagine hiring a big name and then getting absolutely demolished in year one. That sets a terrible precedent. And in a college football world full of changing, stability is somewhat of an infinity stone. The third is the possibility of him figuring it out. We've seen coaches struggle for a while, but then figure it out. Yes, Billy's teams have struggled to do the little things right, but he could find an answer. All it takes is one big year. Look at Dabo Swinney and Clemson. There's multiple examples. Now, I don't think the probability of that is super high, but it's still there. The fourth is effort. Say what you want about Napier's teams, but even when the chips are down, they play their ass off. That's a compliment to their belief in him and could be what finally gets them over the hump eventually. The fifth and last, it sends a good message to any future prospective Florida coach that if he does take the job, they're willing to give him time. That's a big feather in the cap of a search committee, especially nowadays. So I get why some Florida fans are pissed off and upset and a little surprised. You expect to win, and you should. But when you take in all the variables that exist around the program and where we are in time, this was an adult move by Strickland and is fiscally responsible. Something we really don't get a lot in today's world. And before I bring in my co-host, we actually have exclusive footage from Billy Napier entering the football facility after finding out Scott Strickland will not fire him this year. Let's go ahead and play. This is exclusive Crain and Company footage.
Literally. Billy looks a little different, doesn't he?
Yeah, look, it's Florida. He's understanding. David, this came out, and I think I do want to say it's never good when you have to put out a lengthy statement on why you're not firing somebody. Like, this is not best case scenario. But again, when you look at the situation, do you think this is a smart move by Scott Strickland?
Well, just based off that video, I wouldn't be celebrating too much. You got Texas, LSU, and Ole Miss 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So let's calm down a little bit. I'll start off by saying I never want to see guys get fired, man. I really don't. I don't pull for it. I don't celebrate it, especially not when there's some behavior off the field that warrants celebrating a guy getting fired. I want people in our society to thrive, not fail. With that being said, I do think it is a little bit surprising that Billy Napier is going to remain the head football coach at Florida for next season, considering that we're on the verge of 3 straight losing seasons right now. As we sit here, his record is 15-18, and just keep in mind he's replacing a guy in Dan Mullen that was 34-15, right? Like, that guy got fired. Even some of the coaches at Florida who've been, quote unquote, more unsuccessful. Jim McElwain was 22-12. Will Muschamp was 28-21. Ron Zook, 23-14. All winning records. All of those guys got fired. So that's why I find it a little bit surprising. I think you brought up some great points, especially when you consider the timing of this, entering a final year, not wanting to have to pay out a big buyout. I think that's why we're seeing this. When you're paying coaches tens of millions of dollars to stay home and to not coach for your program, just to fire them, I think a lot of athletic directors and a lot of people, look, my parents, I grew up in academia with my parents working at universities. There's a lot of frustrations across the board when guys get paid tens of millions of dollars to not coach football. So Florida fans, I understand if you are frustrated today knowing that Billy Napier is going to be your coach next season. But to Jake's point on turning this thing around, I think it's unlikely that Florida has the success that they're used to. The standard, I don't think, has changed at Florida. So I don't know if he's going to achieve what Urban Meyer did or what Steve Spurrier did. I think it's unlikely. But if for some reason you do find that sort of success, if he can do what Jim Harbaugh did at Michigan, and all of a sudden you've won the conference and you're entering the national championship picture there, it's going to be so much sweeter that you did so after standing by your guy for a few rough seasons.
Yeah, and Blaine, I cannot wait to hear what you think about this, considering what you think about it.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell you.
I know, but David, you brought up something I wanted to ask you immediately after this, because, being a Michigan fan, that there's kind of a little bit of groundwork that I think was laid before they went to Jim Harbaugh and asked for some of that money back. Do you think maybe this could be a scenario in which Scott Strickland is doing this to be able to walk in there and say, hey, Billy, just like they did with Jim Harbaugh, we've seen it in the past, we're going to need some of that money back in this contract because you're not doing what you said you were going to do. I want your thoughts on that. And then from a recruiting standpoint, I know there's some Florida fans that are upset with where Florida's recruiting right now. I think some of that had to do with the uncertainty of, will Billy Napier be the head coach there, and will DJ Lagway be the quarterback there? I think this could ease this. And then finally, when you look at what's going on in Miami, is fantastic for them. But when you look at Florida State right now, it could be worse. When you look at UCF, it could be worse. So do you think they may ask for some money back from Billy, or maybe a restructuring of the contract? Well,
to your first point, that proved to work out in the Jim Harbaugh situation, even though there's not a direct parallel there because Harbaugh was still doing very well.
He was. I'm just saying that instance
he didn't
of
have
asking
losing
for
records. But, I mean, and that is across all of our society. When you're hungry to prove yourself, you generally perform better than after you've already been fed. To your second point, and I'm glad you brought up the transfer portal, in an age where guys could, the best players on this Florida team could be competing for Miami or Florida State a couple months from now, next season.
They just had to play one last week in ET,
right?
Running back.
Right? So in that era, yes, I do think that maybe you'll see a couple programs give coaches an extra year or two and not fire them so quickly like we've seen.
Blaine, my guys close to Florida, my sources at Florida say the fans are really, outside of just being upset that you're not winning games, which is the precipice, it's the forefront. I'm hearing they're upset because this feels like an acceptance of mediocrity.
It is. That's exactly. The only reason Billy Napier is not fired because he has a $26 million buyout. What can you look at from Billy Napier at Florida to be like, yeah, man, we're on the right track?
Well, I don't.
Wait. You walked in with Anthony Richardson. You walked in with the starting quarterback at the Colts and couldn't get it done with him. You have Graham Mertz, DJ Lagway. Florida is a hotbed of recruiting. You are 15-18 at Florida with the 51st best recruiting class. How do you still have a job?
Well, is Florida poor or something? How can Texas A&M pay Jimbo $90 million to go away? Florida can't afford $26 million. Obviously, something's going on because it's not just firing a guy and having to pay the $26 million. How much are you going to have to pay the next guy to come in there? I mean, you add that on top of it with NIL and the rev share. So again, I am not saying, I do not think Billy Napier is an elite coach. That is not what I'm saying. But I think Scott Strickland had to sit down and be an adult and say, we could fire him right now and throw this thing back into chaos. Because again, look at the timeline. If Ole Miss beats Georgia this weekend, they're going to the college football playoff. So if you want Lane Kiffin, when you going to get him? When the playoff ends? At least the first round? So
are we saying there's nothing better out there than Billy Napier?
No, that's not what I'm saying. Right now, if you can't get the guy that you think you want, because Scott Strickland knows who's interested and who's not, but then you look at all the there's a lot of things that I want. I want to go out and buy a Lamborghini, but I also got to pay a mortgage. Mm-hmm. We're having a daughter. Like, there's other things you got to look at and say, you know what? Right now is not the best time for us to go smart. As hard as it is, as much as it sucks, as much as it sucks. Now, my question is, what if Florida State was doing good? What if Florida State was doing good? How much does Florida State being bad have to do with this? Because what if Miami and Florida State were duking it out for the ACC right now? I think that could be a little bit different. But you look at UCF falling apart with Gus Malzahn. I don't love the decision. I understand. What I'm trying to do is make sense of the decision.
I don't understand the decision. Nothing about it makes sense to me. But we're going to keep Billy so DJ Lagway doesn't leave. Is that why? It's not because you're winning football games. It's not because you're killing people in recruiting. You're about to get mopped probably for 3 weeks. And don't lose to Florida State. Don't lose to Florida State, because I guarantee there might be another graphic that gets pulled up on Scott Strickland's Twitter about something a little bit different. It's year 3, Jake.
Why are you trying to convince me?
It's year 3. If it was year 2, maybe we could have the conversation.
Why are you trying to convince me?
There's only 3 people on this panel, and I just want to do to you because you're my brother.
Yeah.
And you sat here and try to lay out reasonings or some reason why Florida should keep Billy Napier. There is not a single reason, in my opinion, on why Florida. You fired Dan Mullen.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
You fired Dan Mullen with the 12th best recruiting class.
Who would you hire right now? Who's available?
I think the availability is going to be a lot different at the end of the year, right?
Well, you say that. Who's in the playoff?
Well, something with the pulse at this point is better than Billy Napier.
I don't think that's true. So you go out. So your answer is, let me pay this $26 million buyout. We really don't know who we're going to get or who's available. And then all of a sudden you look and you're like, wow, Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, all right, they're going to the playoff. All right, Lane Kiffin, it's not going to work out. Who else is out there? Urban Meyer ain't coming back. Saban ain't going there. Belichick ain't going there. Gruden ain't going there. Signetti, we don't know about up in Indiana. And Florida's a great job. But so you're going to just go into the abyss, not having a clue. Let's burn down the house and then ask if we got insurance.
If you live in a trailer, who gives a shit? Burn it down. We got money. We can buy something we think
Apparently
better.
They don't.
Let me ask you this about the buyout, though. There's 1 year left on his deal, right?
Yep.
1 year after this year, not 2 years. Why is the buyout $26 million? Why is the buyout more than you're slated to make in your final year?
We can go down there's a saying in coaching, I just want to make it in my first buyout. I agree with that. We can argue that's why I'm wondering if Scott Strickland's going to say, hey, Billy, it's me, Scott, can we sit down? Hey, we need to restructure this contract. We've seen it. Like, we've watched it multiple times happen. I brought up the Jim Harbaugh one. It's happened before. There's a precedent for it. So maybe this is laying the groundwork to do that. And then when you do get rid of him, if you do after next year, or the first 3 or 4 games in next year, you're not paying out the ass for it. I mean, maybe that's a smart play to me.
Do you think they would rehire Dan Mullen?
No. That's an admission of wrongdoing. They won't do it. They won't,
because he got fired for what Billy's doing a lot worse.
No, they won't do it. You see this in all forms. Like, go watch mainstream media right now. They won't say that, like, all right, Trump did better and won. The campaign was good. They can't say it's, nobody can admit they're wrong. Politicians can't admit they're wrong. Pundits can't admit they're wrong. People in high places don't want to say, like, Dan, because then if you rehire Dan Mullen, He's got you by the balls. What are you going to do? When are you going to fire him? How bad has it got to get to... You know what they're going to say? Remember last time? Or it's like, you know what? If I'm Dan, I'm like, come here. I want you to explain it. Kiss the ring.
Well, like
Kiss it.
At what point, like, as a head coach, and you're this bad in year 3, can you get, like, how do you not get fired? How do you not?
Because there's other things at play.
Because the schedule is hard, man.
It's because really it's a $26 million
schedule is tough.
It's only going to get worse.
Well, next year, that's the whole point.
Yeah, not even next year, this week.
If somebody's get put in the locker and shoved in it and left in the high school, let Billy do it next year. And then you bring in the guy after that, and the schedule's probably better.
You put this out the week you play Texas.
But you know what?
Damn!
Georgia's schedule's really hard this year, too. And what are they doing?
Now, again, everybody's schedule. I'm not arguing whether Kirby Smart's and Billy Napier are on the same plane. I promise you that. But I don't love it, but I can understand why. And now I want to know from the chat, do they understand why?
All right, chat, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you donate, it's on topic. It will get read. We're going to start the day off with Blake Trexler. What's up, Blake? He says, Mullen quit on Florida. You can never bring that back. If Mullen came back, it just wouldn't be the right.
If you remember, hindsight is always 2020, but if you remember at the end of the Mullen era at Florida, culturally, it was awful. I mean, guys, remember the games with him and Grantham on the sidelines? Like, that thing just fell apart. It absolutely fell apart, and recruiting was starting to nosedive. I understand why they moved on from Mullen, but I don't think you can bring him back, and that's a great point Blake brings up.
All right, let's go to Mr. T. How we doing, brother? He says, Billy Napier is an absolute garbage coach. There's no reason we should keep him at Florida. The only reason he is staying there is because of the buyout. I can't find anything else.
Okay, well then I think if your reasoning is, hey, we don't have the money to do this, that's probably a good reason. I'll go back to what I said. I would love to do a lot of stuff. I'd love to buy a home in the Hamptons. It ain't in the cards, buddy. It ain't in the cards, and I'm not going to go out and do it. So if Scott Strickland would have came out and said, guys, listen, fiscally, it's a stupid play. It's a stupid play in the long term fiscally. I think adults can be like, I don't like that. But just because I don't like an answer doesn't mean it doesn't kind of make sense. Because he's looking at it. He knows the numbers. I don't know the numbers. But obviously, if they're not wanting to, Scott Strickland has to answer to people too. Okay, y'all know how this works. The donors still run everything. It's just like politics. The donors run the parties. The donors run the schools and the administration. So I don't think Scott Strickland is Jon Snowing every donor at Florida like, no, you keep your money. You keep it because we're keeping Billy. That ain't how that works. I can promise you that.
Let's go to Gator Gary. He says, don't worry about it, fellas. Scott Strickland grew up in a middle-class family.
That's
a great answer. There. Let's go to Adam. Newsflash. Keeping Billy does not guarantee that Lagway will stay. What Billy defenders will say if DJ leaves anyway.
Well, again, and I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but I think if you were a betting man, I would bet on it's probably a better chance of DJ Lagway staying at Florida if the guy who brought him there and then played him stays there, as opposed to just saying, let's just get on the Ouija board, see what comes up. Because right when the head coach gets fired, or he leaves, or he resigns, or whatever, you have 30 days you can enter your name in the transfer portal. It's free game, buddy. There is no more tampering. It doesn't matter when it is. So the minute that would have got announced, DJ Lagway's phone would have been blowing up like the DMs of an Instagram model.
All right, let's go to the Hall. He says UF probably has a short list for replacements, and these coaches said no. Probably Kiffin, Signetti, etc. That or those names are doing well, unlikely to leave. So that said, not even trying to look.
Well, I mean, hold on. Let me. So you're saying that they looked and got turned down, but they're not trying to look. I'm confused about
unlikely to leave. So they said no to even trying to look. They said,
but you just said they tried to look and they got turned down. I don't understand how those two things make sense.
Look, I just read what they put into the prompter. Let's go to Josh Groover. What's up, Josh? The way UF has cycled through coaches, they need to be certain whichever coach they hire is better. And at this point, who is it?
Yeah. That's a big point.
Yeah.
Just like I just read, cycle after cycle, and a lot of these guys were winning too.
Well, the last point I made was it's a good look if you give a coach a chance.
Like I thought that was a really good point.
If I'm looking at taking that job and I'm watching, you're just chopping guys' heads off. Yep. Hey, 2 years you didn't win, guillotine. Mm-hmm. 2 years you didn't win, guillotine. What am I going to say? I'm going to leave Indiana where I can be a hero forever?
True.
Like, as opposed to not having a chance in the SEC that just added Texas and Oklahoma?
And do you know who's the most excited about this, guys? every other team in the SEC, ecstatic. Have to be ecstatic. If I'm Miami, God, Scott, thanks, brother. Really appreciate it. But the Georgia, oh, God, thank you so much. Hell, it's almost a walkthrough dub at this point.
All right,
why not?
One more, and let's move on and talk about responsibility in men.
All right, let's go to Kyron Ma. What's up, Kyron? So Florida punting till next year because of no coach. So when does the same thing the following year, will that be the same excuse?
I don't think so. I think this is...
Because you'd have to re-sign him.
Because you have to re-sign him. Like, again, the longer you wait, the better off it is for you for multiple reasons, right? The market's going to be different from a coaching standpoint next year. You don't know who may be available, right? You don't know who may be listening. Maybe the shine is one. Maybe Indiana goes to the college football playoff this year, then next year goes, 8-4, which is still really good for Indiana. And maybe Cignetti is saying, all right, I got 2 years in here. I built this thing back up. I'm ready to rock and roll. Maybe Deion Sanders wants to leave Colorado. I don't know, but it just seems the market is not in a place right now because you can only get what the market bears, right? Just like in the transfer portal. To go grab it fiscally, it's smarter to hold on another year. And again, I know it's Florida, and the standard should be uber high. It should be the gold standard, all right? I'm not saying that Florida should accept mediocrity, but I do think at some point, if you're going to take this risk, the conditions need to be right. And I don't think the conditions are right now to do that. But the conditions are always right to be responsible when it comes to your health. And our diets today, and listen, I'm one of the worst at it. I love fried food, all right? I like to have a drink or two, hang out with the fellas. So our diets aren't as natural as they used to be. I don't like that look on your face you're making right. Change your face for me.
Thank you.
And with responsible man, you say, Jake, what is responsible man?
Jake, what is responsible man?
What is responsible man?
Thank you for picking up on that. Well, it's a multivitamin that is packed. I'm talking about Green Bay packed with 33 key ingredients that support your immune system. Hey, I don't get sick no more. Sharpen your brain. I'm also smarter and keep your heart and muscle strong. I'm still alive. All right. That is Responsible Man. Plus, it's got a nice minty smell. All right. And right now you can take advantage of Responsible Man's early access Black Friday sale and get 60% off your order. All you got to do is head on over to responsibleman.com. That's a website, so use a computer. Don't try and walk there. Responsibleman.com. Use code BOOSTER, BOOSTER at checkout. But hurry, this deal won't last long. And remember, gentlemen, strong America needs strong men, and strong men start with Responsible Man. That's responsibleman.com and use code BOOSTER. Get that 60% off, and maybe you'll be responsible or not.
Hey, thanks to everybody in the chat who said my face is fine. I appreciate that. It goes a long way with me.
I just didn't like the way your face looked. I think it looks, I don't like triangle face.
I know.
I don't like triangle face. All right, David, let's move on here. You want to get into some of our locks, leans, and dogs?
Locks, leans, and dogs 1 day early.
1 day early.
1 day early.
Look, we talked about early access for the Black Friday sale. How about early access for winning money because you're betting on sports like real men do? All right, here's my locks. Guess what? This beautiful machine of a team just keeps on pumping out the green. That's Army. I know the quarterback, there's been some issues there with his health. I bought it down to 16.5 last week against Air Force, and guess who bombed too? Army did. Won by 17. So they're playing at North Texas. All right, they're a 4-point favorite right now. I'm buying that thing down to 3. I don't want to live in a world of 4s unless there's a plus in front of it. Going down to 2.5 gets me over minus 150. I don't want to do that. Give me Army minus a field goal. That's at minus 140. So Army to win by a field goal at least. Remember, if they do win by a field goal, it's a push. Push isn't a loss, but it's also not a win. Then I've got to go under on the BYU-Utah game. Bought it up to 42.5. I think this thing may end up at 38.5 before kickoff. You've got an offense in Utah that is really offensive and not in a good way. Cam Rising's been hurt. We've seen it. A really good defense from Utah, but you're going up against a BYU team. We broke this down yesterday. We're going to break it down again tomorrow. That Retzlaff isn't turning the ball over. You're getting the best parts of them, but I think there's going to be a consistent effort by both sides to run the ball and avoid the big mistake. So give me the under 42.5. That's also minus 140. And then my leans. Washington State. What a great year. They're playing Utah State. Not having a great year. Give me Wazoo minus 20.5. That's a 3-touchdown or better win at minus 112. Then Ohio State. They're playing Purdue, or Purdue, or as I like to call them, Purdon't. Bought it down to 36.5. That's to win by 37 at least at minus 138. That's going to be the ass beating of a lifetime. Ohio State right now, confidence is higher than the front row of a Bob Marley concert. Then my dogs.
That's I
don't know why.
That's a Pyrenees.
I guess I'm so...
That's a Pyrenees?
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a pterodactyl. I guess I'm so immature that's just always funny to me every week. Georgia Tech on the money line. Who's taking down Miami at some point? I don't think it's likely, but I got to pick a dog bet. Give me the Yellow Jackets, minus 310 at home. That Miami defense, I'm a little skeptical, Hippo, and so are you. And then Rutgers against Minnesota. In a game that's prettiness is basically Uncle Fester, I think it's going to be ugly. It's going to be low scoring. So give me Rutgers on the money line at plus 195. David, where are you
playing
locking
with fire on the Rutgers bet? All right, let's go ahead and lock in Colorado and Texas Tech over 62.5, minus 110 on the odds. Look, Texas Tech has come a long way on defense this season since they gave up 51 points to Abilene Christian in the opener. But still, I'm expecting a lot of offense in this game. We know what Colorado can do on offense. I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm going to take the over 62.5. And then I'm going to go ahead and lock in BYU minus 3.5, minus 108 on the odds. I know what you're saying. Wait, rivalry game, Utah, going to be on the road. Are you sure? I'm done with the doubting of the BYU
rivalry
situation.
Game, Utah?
Now, I realize I was slightly disrespectful.
On the road? Are you sure?
I was slightly disrespectful when asked if they could win the national championship, and I said they had the same odds as Lloyd Christmas locking down.
We saw the
Swanson.
meme, David. We saw the meme.
Today, this week, BYU minus 3.5. I'm on the Cougar train.
Hey, you and Zach Wilson.
Clip that.
You can clip
You and
that.
Zach Wilson.
I'm on the Cougar
Darby's
train.
not going to like that.
Minus 3.5.
Hey, but by the way, put your best bets in the chat too, David. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yes, no problem at all. And then I'm leaning Tennessee, Mississippi State under 61.5, almost the same points as Colorado, Texas Tech, under 61.5, minus 122 on the odds. I did have that in my locks, but I moved it over because you know what? This is probably the week that Nico will figure it out, throw 6 touchdowns, and that Tennessee defense will finally give up more than 20 points or something. But up to this point, they haven't given up over 20 points, which is incredible. I'm going to take the game under 61.5. Then I'm also leaning Oregon minus 23.5, and the odds on that one are minus 130. So getting a little bit, of a jump in odds there. They're hosting Maryland. This one's going to be at 6:00. It's going to be on the Big Ten Network. Oregon minus 23.5 at home.
David.
They've just been an absolute wagon, man. So I don't know. I'm done with the doubting of the Oregon Ducks as well. Then I'm going to go ahead and take these dog bets right here. LSU money line at home, as we sit here right now, is plus 120. Now, I still like Alabama coming off the bye. I think that we're going to see Jalen Milroe healthy with that week to rest up. The last time they came off a bye against Georgia looked really strong in the first half. But LSU at home, at night, Death Valley plus 120, I think you get a lot of value for that dog bet. So it's something for people to consider out there. And then talking about dog bets, Virginia Tech money line.
Y'all are hot on them.
190 at home hosting Clemson. Again, this is one where I like Clemson to bounce back and win the football game this week, but it's just from a value standpoint. Plus 190, Virginia Tech at home against a Clemson team we just saw struggle. That's what I got for you this week.
God, David, I love it. Come on, just walk on down here. The minute I found out Scott Strickland was keeping Billy Napier, I immediately bet Texas. So that would be one of my locks. Give me Texas minus 20.5. That's minus 130. I'm rolling with Jake, too. Until Army can't do it, I'm going to keep betting them. Army minus 3, minus 140. And then when am I leaning at? Give me Georgia Tech plus 10.5. Look, Miami can score a lot of points, but they can't stop people. And I think Georgia Tech's a good enough program to keep that within 10. Give me Iowa State after the loss last week.
Bounce back.
Minus 2.5 against Kansas on the road. Give me Rocco and the boys. And then the dogs. Virginia Tech, Davey. Come on, man. We're right here. Mindmouth, plus 190. The biggest thing that I saw was Clemson get beat up like that against defense. Over 200-plus rushing yards last week, given up. Virginia Tech wants to do one thing and one thing only, and that is run the football. And then, David, it's time, dog. It's time. Indiana's first loss of the year against the Michigan Wolverines.
Wow.
Michigan hits a late field goal to win the football game. Final's going to be 17-14.
Whoa.
Book it, buddy. Book it.
Let that happen.
All right, what bets are they throwing? What are your locks in the chat? Let's hop in there and find that out.
All right, let's go to AP 13. He's taking Texas to the moon because they kept Billy Napier. He's buying it up to 25.5.
You know, it's the conventional thinking would be that if you decide to keep a coach, the team's going to rally around them. They're going to find a way. Y'all are going the opposite. The reason that I think you should take Texas is because Florida basically has an 11-year-old at quarterback. I mean, I know Lagway, they're talking about him coming back. Even if he can come back, if that hamstring is still bothering him and he can't run, he is an absolute sitting duck against this Texas team. So I think the Texas bet's a good one. I went back and forth on it. I almost put it in one of my leans, but I understand it's a pretty good bet.
Let's go to Ken. He says lock. Pitt minus 7. lean. West Virginia plus 4.5. Dog, Southern Miss plus 4.
Wow. Without a couch.
I almost took the West Virginia one.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to W. Chan. He says his lock is Illinois because we don't even play this weekend.
That's a good lock.
All right, let's go to 702. He says he's taking Virginia Tech money line and might buy it up to Virginia Tech minus 5.5. That's going off at plus 310.
No way.
Like if that's look,
if that hits,
if you're going to take that a single bet, like if it was me, I always like to do an underdog parlay each weekend, and I'll take 3 or 4 teams. Buying them up, the underdog to minus 5.5, very ballsy, but I respect it.
CH53 says Tennessee covers the spread. Nika was dealing last week, and the receivers are actually going to catch something. Also, the defense won't allow more than 4.
Is this one of those?
The under then?
I think David made a good point, and one of the reasons I'm not touching this game is because it seems like every time Mississippi State plays somebody, the other team's offense does really well, but like their defense is like, oh well, Mississippi State kind of sucks, so we'll give up 20.
That's exactly
like that's what's happened. But I like it. I like the pick. 61's a lot.
Oh, don't worry. It'll be 28 to 24. Yeah,
and then they'll score a touchdown late.
All right, let's go to $5 donation from the homie Sooner. What's up, dude? He says, does Oklahoma State cover this weekend, fellas? I need to know.
So Oklahoma State, aren't they like an 11-point underdog on the road? Who are they playing? I'm trying to remember who they're playing. Is it Pitt? Is it Pitt? I'm
pulling it up as we speak right now. I'm definitely going to beat David.
I was looking at it earlier. It's not
you got TCU on the road.
TCU on the road. Are they plus 11 still?
I believe so.
God, do we trust to bet Oklahoma State to cover in a loss? Like, how do we feel about TCU? That's the question. Like they've seemed like they're figuring out a little bit. The defense is kind of figured out. I'm going to be honest with you. I probably wouldn't touch Oklahoma State with a 10-foot pole. That Oklahoma-Missouri game, like, have you seen the
Oklahoma's
odds on that?
favorite
They're
right
a
now.
favorite in that on the road at Missouri. Missouri may be a pretty good dog bet, too, to take this week. Sorry, homie Sooner. I wouldn't touch Oklahoma State, though.
All right, let's go to the Chief. He says, lock TCU money line. Oklahoma State couldn't beat up a dead cat.
Yeah, but, like, what are you getting at, like, minus 325, something like that? You spend $100, they give you a handshake, a wink, and maybe one other thing that you get for free in Europe.
All right, let's go to Uncom, and he says, Vandy money line, boys. Vandy money line.
That's not a crazy thing to say in today's society, even though I'm so interested. And, you know, we're going to talk about this game tomorrow, too. But can South Carolina stack something good with something good? Mm-hmm. We've seen them. It's good. It's really good. It's really bad. It's really good. It's really bad. It's like they answer with the opposite of what happened the week before. Can they stack a success on top of a previous success? That's what South Carolina fans are waiting to see from Shane Beamer. And I hope they do, because if they get some momentum, watch. If South Carolina gets some momentum at the end of this year, and let's say they win 5 out of the last 6 or 6 out of the last 6, there's going to be a lot of people that are heavy on South Carolina next year with what Shane Beamer will have coming back with Lenora Sellers. I think Dylan Stewart, his NIL evaluation is like $1.5 million. I call him the human hurricane. He's worth every single bit of it. So, all right, one more and let's move.
Let's go to a $3 donation from the Doghouse. He says, who's that coming down the track? Great bet this weekend, buddy. I'm taking him.
I don't
like it.
I don't think it's crazy at all. But speaking about taking, know some of y'all may take some shots this weekend. Couple libations. Maybe it's some of that brown water, right? Maybe it's going to drink good old-fashioned, Coors Light or however you get down. But regardless of what you drink, and remember, drink responsibly, right? But I already read the Responsible Man ad. Before you drink, you need to drink Z-Biotics. I'm telling you guys, this is one of we will look back, we look back and we're like, man, the light bulb, what an incredible invention. Trains, science, lemonade, all type of stuff. We're like, that's a great invention. We will look back 100 years. Well, y'all will. I won't be here. Well, neither will y'all. But your friends will look back and kids will say, Z-Biotics is one of the greatest inventions of our time. What is it? Well, it's a pre-alcohol probiotic drink. You drink this before you go drink alcohol, and it helps tackle rough mornings. You know exactly what I'm saying. And it works like magic, like 100% magic. It's a probiotic, the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. Because guess what? And I did not know this. Here's a little Bill Nye science guy explanation for y'all, who he's not really a science guy, though, or a scientist. I used to think I felt bad because I was dehydrated. No, I was just ignorant. I felt bad.
Is that why you felt bad?
I felt bad because there's a byproduct that alcohol makes in your system.
There's a byproduct.
It's a byproduct.
That's what I was going to say.
Not a.
It's not because you're dehydrated.
Not a hello product.
Dummy.
It's a byproduct. And this probiotic fights that. So it's not dehydration that causes it. And I'm telling you, we use it. So go to zbiotics.com/booster. zbiotics.com/booster to learn more and then get 15% off your first order when you use code BOOSTER at checkout. It's backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, which you won't be, you can get your money back. But don't worry about that. You're going to be super duper satisfied. So remember, head to zbiotics.com/booster. Use that code BOOSTER. Get 15% off a 100% of a hell of a good time with Z-Biotics.
Man, Z-Biotics saved me the day after the election.
Bill Nye,
the election party
the lion guy. Oh, yeah, for
election
sure.
Party here was wild.
All right. Well, typically we do this on a Wednesday, but it's a Thursday, or as we call it, Little Friday. And David is a very, very proud homeowner. And one of the things that encompasses the area around his home is a lawn. And sometimes people with bad ideas, or even worse, bad intentions, get on it. And sometimes David has to tell him to get off. So David, as a grown, adult, mature man, who are you sneaking over and having G off your L today?
Well, many of you do not keep up with women's collegiate volleyball, but there have been some important developments within the sport over the past 2 months that must be highlighted. To begin the timeline of events, San Jose State University allows a man, Blair Fleming, to compete on its volleyball team. Not only that, but the athletic department of San Jose State concealed the fact Fleming was a man from recruits, even encouraging them to keep this information private once it was revealed to them. This didn't sit well with team co-captain Brooke Slusser, who has been forced to room with Fleming on game trips. So the senior ultimately decided to join a class action lawsuit against the NCAA, citing a violation of Title IX. This display of courage led assistant head coach Melissa Beatty-Smoose to file her own Title IX complaint with the NCAA, not just in objection to the favoritism shown to the male player, Fleming, but with evidence that he helped conspire to throw a match against Colorado State in order to retaliate against the outspoken teammate, Brooke Slusser. Just days after filing that complaint, however, Beatty-Smoose was suspended indefinitely by the university. That's right, escorted out, unable to gather her belongings, with instructions not to speak with the team or media. But before you lose hope, left to wonder if our sisters and daughters are doomed to encounter radical behavior such as this within every institution our society has to offer, I inform you with joy that 5 programs have boycotted, brings a whole new meaning to boycott, boycotted matches against San Jose State. Those programs being Boise State, Wyoming, Southern Utah, Utah State, and Nevada. And as much as it pains me to see forfeiture as the most effective solution to this ridiculous problem, I commend these young ladies for taking a stand, particularly the ladies of Nevada, where their own athletic director, Stephanie Rempe, attempted to force the team to compete, even stating to the girls that they were uneducated on the issue. This saga is not likely to end soon. San Jose State is 13-3 on the season, and as of 2 weeks ago, their athletic director, Jeffrey Konya, is requesting payment from Boise State in the amount of $1,250 due to lost game day revenue. I'm unable to speak for anyone involved in this situation, but what I would say is, no, we're not paying you. No, we're not uneducated. No, we won't remain silent. I'll end today with a quote. Today's compromise becomes tomorrow's standard. Never compromise, never surrender. And for those putting these young ladies in this disgraceful situation, get off my lawn.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah,
Coney. And we were involved in this before it was cool, before Riley Gaines had really blown up and this had become a huge issue. We were talking about stuff like this because this is the scary part about it. And again, we don't get, this isn't a political issue, it's a safety issue, and we don't get political here, but one of the biggest wins, I think, from the election was I think women's sports is going to be saved. I think it's going to be saved. And what I always say is, listen, what you do in your free time, I don't care if you think you're a dolphin, like whatever, as long as it's not hurting anybody, but this is hurting people. And it's hurting women. And what I don't understand is if you really feel this way, if you really think, whoever this dude is, that you're a chick, Why don't you just be a chick and play on the men's volleyball team? Like, why can't you just do that? There'd be no rules broken. Nobody'd be like, oh, no, Nevada wouldn't forfeit against San Jose State with men's volleyball because they had a man on the team. That's why like, I question some of the motives here, like with the Leah Thomas thing. If you're a dude that thinks you're a chick, just be a dude that thinks you're a chick on a dude's team. Then nobody would have any problem with it. It's such a simple fix, and it's such an obvious thing. And it just sucks these girls are in this position. But I think the sources that I know are right. We're about to be done with having to deal with this issue, because I know first couple of days it's going to get handled. But
I get so mad talking about this stuff. I just get so mad because it blows my mind that it's even a conversation that we're having right now. We're talking about how we're trying to stop guys from competing in women's sports. I know this is not a political show, but thank you, Trump's in the office now, because that shit ain't happening no more. It's done.
No, like
it's
that.
Over.
But again,
it's done.
But again, if you are basing your validity on if you think you're a girl or not when you're a guy, on whether you're playing on the men's or women's volleyball team, then it's hard for me not to think that there's something else going on.
Yeah, I agree, because when you use the reasoning of, empathy and progressiveness and let's be kind to everyone, but then there's 18 female volleyball players on a team and you're silencing them and telling them, we don't care what you think. We don't care what you want over one male on the team, you lose the argument of, we're being progressive and empathetic and kind.
This is somewhat in the same vein as the sexual orientation night at the ballpark. Like, if you're really, if you just want to be who you really are, you don't need a night at the ballpark. You don't need to go play for the women's team. You can just be a trans woman on the men's team. That's why I think that it's an attention thing for a lot of people. I think I want to have attention. I want people to think that I'm special, more special than everybody else because of this. When in fact, if something like that was happening, like if I thought, something, let's say, I'm not going to go totally change other people's lifestyles because I'm a certain way. I just want to be myself. That's why it blows my mind. I don't know. I don't get it. But let's go to the chat before we get to calls.
All right, let's go to Tifosi. What's up, man? He says, didn't Vandy have a woman field goal kicker? I get y'all's point and I agree, but let's draw a hard line right down the middle.
Yeah, couple things. One, the Vanderbilt women's kicker situation was a total PR stunt.
Mm-hmm.
Total PR. They gave her special teams player of the week because she kicked a squib kick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incredibly,
and not a good one.
Exact phrase, but an incredible
squib kick. That was a PR stunt because back then, Vandy couldn't do anything except win a PR stunt. You think Clark Lee's going to do that? Clark Lee would laugh you out of the room. There were a lot better kickers that they could have. It was a PR stunt to make Vanderbilt relevant. I know there's some coaches on that staff that were furious about it. I know there's some players that knew what was going on. So draw a hard line what? Because I guarantee you this, if Sarah Fuller would have ran down and tried to make a tackle, they'd be picking up pieces of her like Mr. Potato Head all over that field.
Let's go to Rocky Top Tom. He says, Jake, I'm a dolphin, but I'm confused. I think I'm a porpoise. Should I have a different bathroom?
I don't know. Y'all just piss in the ocean every time. I think it's all right.
I was going to Ben H. What's up, man? He says, guys, on a serious note, do you think Donald Trump will make this effective, or will the NCAA still try to push this through?
Well, here's the problem I think the NCAA has. You're going to lose that Title IX case.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose it, especially now that you're going to have a new administration in, and there's going to be some new influences and people put in spots. And the NCAA is holding on by a breath right now. They can't afford to lose something like this. So, yes, I think there is going to be an action taken at the top that stops this. I mean, it just came to light that in the Olympics, that person who everybody said, no, she or he is both. Turns out he's got a pair and a micro you-know-what. And they made that girl apologize after getting her face beat in against a guy.
And if you're the Democrat Party and you're having to look at the Avengers team that just got assembled, when you start to name names like Tulsi Gabbard, former Democrat, Robert Kennedy Jr., longtime family Democrat.
No, all that crazy stuff.
The guy at the top of the ticket, Donald Trump, is a former Democrat. It's because of an issue like this that you've lost.
And this is, I think, one of the reasons that it was such a big loss. because it's not set in reality. You live in cuckoo world. Not in everything, but you live in cuckoo world if you think this is okay. And it's hard for you to say, if you came up to me, you may be a really smart person. You may know how to fix a whole economy. But the minute you look at me and say men should be allowed to play in women's sports, I can't take anything else you say seriously. Mm-hmm. I'm worried about you having a driver's license because that's so far-fetched and it's not based in reality at all. It's don't believe your lying eyes. It is gaslighting to the fullest effect. And most people, I've never met a person that's like, yeah, dudes should play in women's sports. I've never met that person. But apparently they're out there.
All right, let's go to the King. He says, women don't have football teams, though. Is that unfair to them?
Yeah, there's a flag league, I think, that is starting to actually get pretty popular. Now, I'm not going to talk about the lingerie league. We all know what that's for.
What's that?
But
that's a league? That's
yeah.
a league? Cool.
Well, it's all of a sudden we're going to look tomorrow. Blaine's going to be
Dave don't know. David's on the hunt for cougars, apparently.
Yeah, no, so if women, here's the thing. If women started playing tackle football, like if you're a woman that's good enough to make a college football team and like play at a high level, then go for it. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you might as well find a unicorn and a leprechaun while you're at it. You might as well see if you can find a golden ticket to Wonka's factory because it's not going to happen. Now, if they start their own league, I hope they do. That'd be great. All right, now, will it make enough money to fund itself? That's the question.
All right, let's go to Leah. It says she's from Southern Utah. She's an alum here and so proud for these ladies for standing up. Are we going to see more ladies around the nation do the same thing?
Yeah.
I think now, because of what happened, I think you're going to see a lot more people that have been in the background. That's why that decisive winning decisively was so important, because there's no, half of the country feels this way and just a little bit more feels this way. No. It was the ass beating of a lifetime at the ballot box. So there's not I think a lot of people that were in the back, behind the scenes, are now going to come to the forefront. And the people like Megan Rapinoe and these other people that really just care about themselves, that they don't care about women's sports, they're going to start to fade into the back. Because guess what? What's that Britney Spears song? Toxic?
I wouldn't know.
It's toxic. Yes, you would, David. Don't lie.
But 5 different teams have boycotted San Jose State. Yep. How incredible is that?
That is incredible. It's sad, but it's incredible.
Even Nevada's own athletic director trying to force those girls to play, and they just didn't show up.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Sir Jake's a lot. What's up, man? He says, what kind of sports are you watching, Jake?
What?
The lingerie league, dude.
No, I don't have a good answer to that.
All right, let's go to...
I was raised in a middle-class family.
Yeah, let's go to Ansley P. Hello, Ansley. She says, will women ever be big and strong enough to maybe actually be able to play in the same league as men?
God, I hope not.
Well, there are some women who are bigger and stronger than even some males. It's not about...
it's just...
Can we just keep them separate?
Yeah, just listen. Be big and strong enough to play in your own league.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be really weird if I was like, man, I tell you what, this Miami-Georgia Tech game's big this weekend. Ashley Simpson at left guard.
But the thing about it only takes one. Year. It only takes one.
I just don't know if that one's out there. Because the minute, it just would remind me of on The Waterboy when Michigan tried to play the towel boy.
Yeah.
And he went in there and ran a slant and just
didn't go well.
Got decapitated. But
I wasn't there then.
Yeah, you weren't there. That was a year before you. But all right, let's get to the phone lines.
All right, hold on. Before we get to calls, we do have this NFL game.
Oh, sorry.
We've got a big matchup, AFC North matchup. To be honest, Baltimore going to host the Bengals. Baltimore 6-3. Bengals right now 4-5. The line on this is -6.5. Ravens 52.5 over under.
Doesn't it feel like every time you just want to trust the Ravens, like something happens?
I was feeling that way about the Bengals.
Like they lose to the Browns. I know. And the Raiders, they're in after the Bengals beat the Raiders to death the other night. But I like the Ravens here. Derrick Henry's having a hell of a year. I mean, you look at the numbers that he's putting up. He's, and they've made all the right moves. They added Deontay Johnson too at wide receiver. They needed that bounce back win last week. It's hard to go against Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Jasicki's really coming on right now at tight end. Mm-hmm. He's been really effective. I like the Ravens. What's the spread in that game again, Dave?
6.5.
I would buy that thing up to 7.5 and take the Bengals. The over-under's at what?
52.5.
52. I would take the under. I think the Bengals cover plus 7.5 and the under.
They played a month ago. This one went to overtime.
Yeah. This is a type of game where both teams need their stars to show out. Especially from a guy who has Jamar Chase, Lamar Jackson, and Derrick Henry on his fantasy team. I want a lot of points to happen tonight. The one thing I do trust more in this game, I would say, is the Ravens defense. I think you have a little bit more playmakers on that side of the football, and the Bengals are somewhat banged up front, and Joe Burrow's been getting killed the last couple of weeks. And I think it's going to be a close game, but I do like Lamar. I think Lamar is growing as a player, as a passer. You saw Likely come along last week, Zay Jones come along last week, and they're starting to get certain pieces to add up to where you can kind of see this run starting to come together. So give me the Ravens. Yeah. I think they have a little more weapons all around as a unit, as a team to get this.
Well, we know they got the roster. It's just like, when can they start hitting that stride? And once they do it, because you brought up Likely. Well, Mark Andrews has coming on hot lately, right? Yep. You got two tight ends. You got Isaiah Likely. You got Mark Andrews. You look who you got at wide receiver. I mean, you got Bateman. You got Zay. I mean, you added Deontay. And Justice Hill's a great backup for Derrick Henry. So they've got all the pieces. The defense, I think, is going to be solid. It's just, when are they going to hit their stride? And if they do it against Cincinnati and they start rolling, I mean, we know the Ravens are a Super Bowl contender.
Who would have thought right now Pittsburgh would be leading the AFC North?
Nothing shocks me with Tomlin. I don't think a lot of Steelers fans are that shocked. But I think Steelers fans are sitting here saying, this is great. We're really happy about doing well in the regular season. But we always pretty much do well in the regular season. They're going to judge this year, as they should, off what the Steelers do in the postseason. That's how it should be.
An update, Isaiah Likely is out tonight.
Okay. I said T. Higgins is doubtful.
Okay.
All right, let's get to the phone lines. Let's see if we've got some people from Florida. We got Tyler on the line in Florida. Tyler, what's going on?
Every day.
Fellas, how we doing?
What's up, man?
I know y'all probably tired of hearing me, but hey.
Oh, hell no. I quoted you earlier in the show.
Until it happened.
Yeah, I quoted you earlier.
Dang it. My bad.
No, no, it's good.
No, well, first off, going into the Georgia Tech game, first, let's just get out of the way. Take a knee.
Yeah.
You know, if it comes to it, just take a knee. It's not going to kill anybody. But this defense has got me more terrified than I found out my Uber driver played at Georgia. They're killing me. I don't. And what's even worse is they're actually not bad the entire game. They're like god awful the first half, and then like, okay, now we can play defense again in the second half. And they're shut. Like last week, we shut. It was like 35-10 or something in the second half. I'm like, why can't we do this in the first half or all game? I don't. Yeah, I mean, Jake, you've coached that side. I mean, can you explain it to me?
Well, I think when I watch Miami, it's not that you guys aren't talented. I don't think you have a bunch of great players that are ready right now. I know you're younger in some spots than others.
We are
that's
very
how it
young
works.
in the back end.
And so when you have like a young secondary, and I've dealt with this before, you kind of fall back in the addition by subtraction category, right? If you're going to be out there playing, I don't want you to be thinking, right? You're already going to be thinking a lot because you're young and you're trying to prove yourself and you're seeing different things that you've never seen before. Even week to week, you can play 3, 4, or 5 weeks, and week 6, you could see something different. And I used to always tell our young guys, listen, if we're going to be wrong, let's all be wrong. Because if we're all wrong, we're all right. What we can't have happen is y'all be right on the right side and y'all be wrong on the left side, and all of a sudden the coverage is screwed up. If we're running cover 6, let's know we're running cover 6. If we're running man free, let's know we're running man free. I don't want this side to be thinking we're running man and the other side to be thinking we're running zone, because that's how we're going to get our pants pulled down if it works out that way. So there is a methodology to that young guy, but at some point you start putting in some things because you know what people are doing to you and you know what people see you do. When can Miami start adding some things when they feel comfortable enough with those young guys in the back? But one great way to take pressure off of them is stop the run and get your ass to the quarterback. That'll help out more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what's really frustrating is the fact that all of a sudden, since like week 3, we can't find the quarterback.
Tyler,
even find the quarterback.
Tyler, we kept saying Reuben Bain's coming back. Reuben Bain's coming back. It's gonna be fixed. It's gonna be fixed. It's gonna be fixed. Because I'm not looking at Miami as a regular season team anymore. Right? We are past that point. They can't be past that point.
Correct.
But we're past this point. So it's like, so what are you going to do in the postseason? Because that's what this is all building towards. So that's why you went out and got Cam Ward and these guys.
Tyler, quickly before
Thank
you
God
go,
we
how
got
do you
him.
feel about Billy Napier coming back to Florida?
Love it. Greatest decision ever.
Everybody in the SEC should call in and say that. Because that's how you feel.
Yeah.
That's how you feel.
Yeah,
Thank
I
y'all
love it.
so much. Thank you, because they know that Florida, if you get the right guy in there, Florida, that thing can get hotter quicker than, I don't even know. I don't even want to say it on the show because I'll get in trouble. But Florida is one of those places where if you get it right, you can get it going quick.
Yeah. Thanks, Tyler.
Before I get off, real quick, I was talking with football with one of my ninth graders the other day, and they made a Will Levis joke, and I swear y'all, I want y'all to hear it.
Okay.
He said Will Levis is playing so bad that he might win defensive MVP of the year. So I just wanted to share that
Look,
with y'all.
I just keep saying, and I think Blaine was the first one to say it, it's the fact that y'all thought somebody who put mayonnaise in his coffee would make good decisions in the pocket at quarterback.
That was my
Still
first
blow
sign.
my mind.
Yeah, Zaddy
My
eats the
first
peel
time.
on the banana.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Get out.
Second sign.
All right, let's go to Jay in Colorado. Jay, what's going on today?
Holy mackerel, I made it on. This is so awesome.
Jay, what's up, buddy?
Hey,
First
welcome
time-
home, King.
Hey, first time caller, and I got myself all nervous all of a sudden. Whoops. You guys have brought me back to football. Thank you.
Nice. Awesome.
So happy level up belated to you, Jake.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Blaine, you are one of the best counterpunchers for these other two people. It's fantastic. You make it worth the listen.
I tell you what, Jay,
And
I love
Dave,
when people call in and lie to you.
I'm crying, man. I love you so much. Go ahead, please.
and David, I've been searching for a positive thing. You're a great singer.
Okay, I'll take that.
That's good. Good. Jay, thanks for the call. Please call.
No, go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
I level up tomorrow. It's
Hey,
fine.
congrats. Let's go.
I'm doing it in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
We're flying out tomorrow morning. Should be awesome. My one sports thing I have to say is I went all in with you guys on your Colorado prediction at the first of the year, and I caught no end of grief from my friend group. I even laid down a couple $20 bets on it. And so I'm still paying the ridicule for that, but I do see your logic on why you have modulated your point, and I do see hope for Colorado. I just, I think Deion's around for his kids. I don't think he's around for the school, and I don't see him sticking around after his boys leave.
Yeah.
So it's just
I don't
kind of
either.
heartbreaking to me.
Well,
I
first
will
off,
say this quickly.
Blaine did pick Colorado to do.
Yeah, I did pick them to do better than these two guys did. So shame on both these guys, but please.
Yeah, not
Vegas had him at 5.5
Yeah,
wins.
Jay, can you please talk about
Vegas had
SMU
him at 5.5 wins, by the way.
No, Jay, here's what I'll say. We're always going to tell you what, we think's going to happen in the best way possible. Like, I'm not like, all right, I want to reach on this. I'm going to tell you what I really think. And you got to give all the credit in the world to Colorado. But I did not see the Big 12 being this down at the top. I did not see Utah doing this. I did not see Kansas State kind of having some of the struggles that they've had. I mean, look at the Big 12 right now. BYU's undefeated. Like, look at the over-under on their wins. So there's always that one conference or there's a couple of teams a year. The one I reached on was SMU. And I don't want to jinx it, but I think there's a chance that could work out. But as far as Colorado, not that I thought they would fall off a cliff, but I didn't think they would be doing this because of not only who they had, and they've done a great job coaching up their personnel, especially on line of scrimmage, but what was around them in the schedule, right? I did not see UCF being this bad, right? Or Arizona being this bad. It's, the good teams are BYU, Iowa State, Arizona State, and Colorado.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's
holy
happening
hell.
at Oklahoma State will be studied.
And Oklahoma State.
What's
There's
happening at
another one.
Oklahoma State will be studied or should be studied one day.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Jay. Happy level up.
Great
day.
call.
Enjoy
man.
Nashville, man.
Yep. All right, we got a couple Joshes on the line. Let's go to Josh in North Carolina. What's up, man?
Hey guys, me and my girlfriend are on the way to Michigan. We're going to the Big House tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Wanted to ask, would it be an absolute troll job for me to wear like my Tennessee gear to the Big House? Would that be too much?
No, rep your set. Rep your set. That's the way I see
Why,
it.
though, man? It's
No,
just
like rep your
why?
set. Like, what?
Why?
This is who I am.
Why? I just feel like you're doing too much, man.
Yeah, wear a Michigan jersey.
Yeah, wear
like
a Michigan jersey. You don't have any beef towards Michigan.
Watch them get beat by 14 by Indiana.
Your job as a fan of your team is to spread the message of your team. Tennessee is you know what? Turn the motivational music.
Oh, God.
Turn the motivational music on. Justine, hit the button. Hit the button.
Hey, Justine, just tell me the button.
Tennessee's hotter than they've been in God knows how long. Rocky Top has never been on top the way that they are right now. So if you're going to the Indiana-Michigan game, if you're going to the Army-North Texas game, if you're going to the Nevada-Boise State game, and you're a Tennessee fan, you wear your Tennessee gear. Because your job as a fan, Baltar, is to spread your message. When they went on the Crusades, they didn't go over there and just wear the jersey of the Romans or whatever. They took their religion, what they think, and they wanted to spread their word. So you wear that Tennessee gear from top to bottom. And if anybody at Indiana and even Michigan gives you hell, you just start singing Rocky Top, all right? Because
they're not going to know what that means.
Because they're not going to have a clue what that is.
And now a message for Josh's girlfriend. It's time for you.
The cops are on the way.
It's time for you to do your part. Okay, you need to step up here and intervene, and I think that your voice will prevail in this situation. Okay, and sing hail to the victors.
Hey, Josh, rest of the trip. Josh, where's Tennessee playing at this week?
They got Mississippi State.
Where?
They're playing
at home, right?
They're playing in Knoxville.
Okay. I just want to make sure you were bailing on your own team, all right, to go somewhere else.
Listen, that's what he knows the mission's going to get taken care of. His mission's to spread the word in Michigan.
It won't get spread.
Well,
I just wanted to say I'm glad Billy Napier staying another year in Florida.
I'm telling y'all.
I'm shocked.
I don't understand it.
Appreciate it, Josh. Y'all drive safely, all right? All right, let's go to Joshua in Knoxville. I know it can get confusing here, but we're keeping track of everything. Joshua, what's up?
Hey, guys. Go Big Orange. Gators suck. And if I was going to the Michigan-Indiana game, I'd be wearing my checkerboard overall.
That a boy.
100%.
That a boy.
Oh, weird.
That's what happens when you've been bathed in the water.
All right, man.
Oh, man.
Exactly. But I have a two-part question regarding G5 teams in the playoffs.
Okay.
So the first one being, if Boise State goes undefeated and there's some chaos with the teams above them, is it possible that they may be one of the top 4 ranked conference champions?
Well, and I know you mean if Boise State goes undefeated the rest of the way, because they did have that one loss to Oregon. I know what you mean. So if they end up going 12-1, right, 11-1 regular season, win the conference championship game, the only conference I think they would have to go undefeated. I think they would have had to go 12-0 to do it. It would be the Big 12 or the ACC, obviously, probably leaning more to the Big 12. I just don't see it. I think the better question, I don't want to jump ahead of what may be your part 2, is what if Army goes undefeated and beats Notre Dame and Boise State wins out and they both win their conference championships and Army's 13-0, Boise State's 12-1 with their only loss coming to number 1 Oregon if they went out and win the Big Ten. Is that our only way to get 2 Group of 5 teams in there?
Possibly, and this is why the number 12 ranking in the initial college football playoff ranking this week was so crucial, because if Boise State had been number 20 and they went out and they're the Group of 5 contender, well, you're still going to make the playoff, right? Yeah. You're in that 12th spot. But being ranked 12th, if they went out, there's nowhere to go but up, as many of these teams in front of you are going to play each other and fall back. So if you went out, it's kind of like, how does a Big 12 team, let's say Colorado ends up winning the Big 12 and they have 2 losses overall, how did they then jump Boise State, who was already shown favoritism in the rankings at 12?
If there's 2 Group of 5 teams in the playoffs, I'm going to jump off a building.
Don't do that.
I'm going to what are we doing? They shouldn't.
And how many spots was Army behind? You said
Army's
7?
at 25.
So, yeah, wow, 12 spots.
That's what I was saying yesterday. I'm like, dude, there's a 13-spot difference. But Army's going to get their shot. Again, here's the question. I want to know in the chat or in the comments, wherever the hell you're watching this or listening to it, say it out loud in the car to yourself. I don't know. If Army goes undefeated and wins the conference championship, and Boise State goes 12-1 and wins the conference championship, and their only losses to Oregon, Army's still got to get in. Army's still got to get in.
And by that time, they would have a win over Notre Dame.
And that usurp them? Again, Boise State's at 12. They're at 25.
That's a
Here
lot
we go.
of spots,
we do
man.
the Klinko thing. It gets to Notre Dame. If they win it, what are they going to jump Boise?
Yeah, 13 spots. That's crazy. But, yeah, Joshua, as we get closer to that, keep calling in, man.
It's interesting.
All right, let's go to Nick in Gainesville, Florida.
Oh, Nick, I can't wait for you to
Nick
agree
has
with
some
me. Go
things
ahead.
to say. What's up, Nick?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. So go Gators, first of all, just in case there's any question there. So the number one reason Napier still has his job is not any of the stuff y'all have said, to be honest. All that contributes to it. But the number one reason, put yourself in Scott Strickland's shoes. Strickland is going to lose his job if Napier gets fired. Why on earth would you fire Napier that you're Scott Strickland?
Well, here's why. Here's why, Nick. Because if you fire Napier and Strickland is responsible for the next hire, that buys him time and gives him another opportunity. I think it would be more risky.
Oh, no, I'm saying he won't be able to make the next hire.
So you're saying they're telling him you can't fire Billy. We'll decide to fire Billy.
No, I'm saying he can't fire Billy because he wants to save his own skin. Does that make sense?
No, I get that, but what I'm saying, Nick, is think about this. If you were Scott Strickland and you said, all right, if I fire Billy Napier, they're going to fire me, how exactly would that work if you fired Billy Napier right now? You're helping the search committee, which I think the donors would end up making the choice anyway, but you would be the AD for that next hire.
That, by the way.
Yeah. Well, like you would be the AD for that next hire. So that next hire is tied to you. You see what I'm saying? And I also think there's a pun intended golden nugget here for Scott Strickland nobody's talking about, and that's Todd Golden. Because I'm telling you right now, Ford is a problem in basketball. They're an absolute. I watched them in the second half the other night. It's a problem. Like, they've got a tree as well. He's like 7'9". But Ford is really good. I think Todd Golden may end up saving Scott Strickland. And I get what you're saying, Nick. I totally you are anchored to your hires, right? 100. And there's AD.
Yeah,
that's why
100%.
coaches get so nervous when new ADs come in, because you're not their guy. They didn't hire you, so it's a lot easier for them to fire you because they didn't hire you. So if you're Scott Strickland, if you were really trying to save your ass and you had the ability to fire Billy Napier, actually firing him and then helping hire the next guy could prolong you, especially if they win. So we disagree on that, but I don't think you're totally wrong. I can see why you would think that.
I mean, the other reason Strickland still has his job is there's turmoil, higher up the chain with the U.S. president and all that, too.
Talk about that. Can you talk about that for a second, Nick?
So the former president, I think he was a congressman from Nebraska, Sassy, he had some personal family issues that he had to, step aside, which is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
And the guy they're replacing him with temporarily was the former president, Fox, but, he's not going to be there long term. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So he's kind of a stand-in right now?
Bingo.
So you guys got an interim.
You're talking to the guy that once the new real president comes in, you bring in your own AD, and that new AD needs to say, look, anybody not named Kirby Smart, you are on my coaching list. Because Florida has more money than most people realize.
Well, see, that's why I was...
You don't believe me.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, if we're going to compare, if we're going to have a you-know-what contest, I think Florida could afford $26 million, but I'm looking at all these variables, and I'm like, all right, it's the $26 million buyout plus the mega contract, because y'all aren't going to go hire some no-name that you can get a good deal on.
No. I'm
not
the guy that's been commenting saying we need to hire Ryan Day because Ohio State's going to get 2 more losses, which, Dave, one of them is Michigan, by the way.
Woo. So basically, he would take the Urban
Call
Meyer
it any
path.
time, Nick.
It's worked before. Nick, great call. Thanks for that insight.
Really good call, man. Appreciate it.
All right, let's go to Will in New Jersey. Will, what's up?
Yo, what's up, guys?
Will, what's up, dude?
So I'm going to a Knicks game on Friday. We call events at Madison Square Garden something different nowadays in the political
Nazi
climate,
rallies.
Some sort of rally of some kind. But putting the Knicks to the side, I did want to ask a question. It's unfortunately about the parallels between Auburn and the New York Giants, 2 of the absolute worst teams in all of sports at the moment. Who do we think gets fired first? Are we thinking Daboll gets fired first, or are we thinking Hugh Freeze? Because Jake, I know you think Hugh Freeze is going to last a little bit longer, but I mean, this is getting a little ugly now. 17.
Oh no, it's
We're getting across in that line now. So I just wanted to see your thoughts. And obviously, I hate Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Will, because I mean, I got my pulse on a lot of things, and I know New York people are a lot of things. Patient is not one of them. I mean, it feels like Daboll's been there a while now. Josh Allen is obviously fine without him. So that whole, Josh Allen or Daboll was the reason Josh Allen was this, that narrative's kind of dying. It seems to me when I look at him, he's lost a bunch of weight. He's trying to change his image, turn things around. I think the leash is shorter on him because you know what Daboll doesn't have? A top 3 recruiting class in the country right now. That's what he doesn't have. And knowing the people I know in the Auburn program, he's not going to get fired this year regardless of what happens. Next year is a huge year. The odds of him getting fired if it doesn't go good next year have significantly increased because of what you said. It's not just bad this year. It's really, really bad in multiple ways. But I would say Daboll. That's what I think.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I hate blaming Daboll as much as I do because I see Saquon. Obviously, you guys know where I live, so I see Saquon Barkley in haunting my dreams. Just letting him go is such a stupid idea. Daboll loses 50 pounds and we pay Daniel Jones $50 million. I don't like the correlation between those two numbers.
Do you think they're going to give him another quarterback?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
I hope that they do. I mean, we suck to the point. I mean, God bless the Germans. I don't know how the hell you're going to watch that game on Sunday between these two doofus programs.
Well, it's to the point now where I might just put Malik Neighbors at quarterback and tell him to go run around.
He's so good.
Go run around.
So, Will, who do you think the Giants should draft at quarterback?
Well, I originally thought old Shovelface down in Georgia, but he don't look so good anymore.
No, that guy walked around Miami.
I'm kind of hoping we take Shadur.
I will take Cam Ward over Shadur any day.
Well, it's just where you're at, right?
Yeah,
look, Cam Ward's the first quarterback that's going. I know Prime's got a lot of pull. I know it's a big family name. Cam Ward's going to be the first quarterback taken. Like that, I'm just telling you right now. Like, especially now, you look at what Jaden Daniels is doing after what C.J. Stroud just did. Cam Ward's getting taken, bud. Yeah, I can promise you.
Which might be good for the Giants if you're wanting Shadur. You might not have the first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great call, man.
Well,
Greg,
see you guys.
See you, buddy.
Man. All right, next up, Kirk in Canada. Kirk, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. I am so jealous you got a new leader running your country right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's I'm sure old JT up there wasn't thrilled.
Oh, one of the leaders of one of the parties basically consoled Canadians the other day. I'm not even kidding you.
Yeah.
Hey, is the Poilievre guy going to win?
I have hope now that this week, to be honest with you, there's people
He
who are waking
geeks
up
me.
and
I'll watch y'all in Parliament, and it's so funny. It's like the way
it is.
It's just hilarious. Y'all just roast each other. It's amazing.
Did you see the Poilievre eating the apple and talking?
Yeah,
to the
that's
great.
apple?
Oh, that was solid gold. Solid gold. So, 3 quick hockey points. There's a new hockey club. It just drives me around the bend. The one in Utah. Do you guys know what they called themselves?
Yeah, wasn't it the Yetis?
Well, they were going to go with the Yetis, and then they're thinking the Blizzard, and then they're thinking they went with the Utah Hockey Club.
I mean, can't go wrong with it. They went safe. They went super safe. That'd be like, hey, we're thinking about opening up a sandwich shop. Mm-hmm. What should we name it?
The Sandwich Shop.
The Sandwich Shop.
Yeah.
Well,
at
least you know what it is.
Right? You don't have to get all fancy, buy a bunch of pretty lights.
It's just like, how can you make the merch cool, though?
Yeah.
Like,
you make it cool by making it so common.
Like,
you make it so original, it makes it cool.
Quick hockey news. The Winnipeg Jets are on fire. They're 12-1. They're only the 6th team in NHL history to have a 12-1 record after the first 13 games, so they're pretty hot if you want to make a hockey bet.
Yeah, well, it's the first time I've heard about the an organization called the Jets doing well in a while.
Yeah, real talk.
And before I let you go, the worst team in the NHL right now is... Who is it, Blaze?
Good talking to you, Kirk.
Y'all should make a bet.
Kirky, great talking to you, dude. All right.
Y'all should make a merch bet.
Yeah, we should, dude.
Appreciate it, Kirk.
Thanks, Kirk.
Thanks, man. All right, go to the chat here.
All right, man, let's grab
I'm
some.
going to get to bets in a minute.
Okay, let's grab some of these donations. We're going to go to a $5 donation from Mr. Orange. He says, thank you, Scott Strickland. Thank you so much for keeping Billy Napier. All of my prayers have been answered. Is
there anybody in
We got a $3 no. We have a $3 donation from the Tiger. Thank you, Scott Strickland. We have a $2 donation from the Boy in Blue. Thank you, Scott Strickland. $5 donation from the Texan. No. Thank you, Scott Strickland. So that's some of the donations we got rolling through the chat. It's bad.
I'm not.
It's
again,
bad.
You're acting
and you
like I'm
defended it.
You're acting like I'm. I did not defend
you,
it.
Jake Crain.
Yeah, I did not defend it. I gave the reasons why I think he did it. Those are two totally different things, you stupid idiot. All right, let's pull up bets real quick. Let me get back to the chat. All right, tonight, East Carolina, FAU, the Pirates versus the Owls. Damn. Give me the under 58.5. That's at -108. And then Coastal Carolina at home against App State.
Oh, you're taking Coastal.
I'm a sick man, David.
You're taking Coastal.
Sick, disgusting
the way they've
man.
been playing.
I'm taking Coastal. On the money line, that's at -102. What do you got?
All right, well, fine if they win. Just don't score a lot of points because I got the App State Coastal Carolina under 63.5. -126. And then I'm going to do the opposite in the NFL game. Bengals, Ravens, over 52.5, -110. I know that's a lot of points, but I'm expecting a lot of points. Like you were talking about a shootout earlier.
Yeah.
Let's hope for that.
I love it. I'm staying away from the NFL game tonight because I need a lot of fantasy things to go right. All right, so I'm going to stick in college. App State Coastal over 62.5, Dave. Hey,
so 63?
We can.
Do we need to thread this needle?
All right, we can thread that needle. All right, Robin Hood, long arrow shot.
33-30. 33-30.
Over 58.
No!
-115. We're rooting for points, y'all. It's a Thursday. No one wants to come here and not root for points.
How dare you?
How
we need
dare
33-30.
How much of negative Nancy's over here?
How bad dare you turn your... You just... Well, you did pick two.
Yeah, see, I already changed it.
All right.
Don't even know now.
Ace, he's going to go with the East Carolinians, -6.5. That's -144. And then the Bengals +6 at -108. Super duper interesting. All right, let's get to the chat.
All right, let me roll through some of these donations. Let's go to a $5 donation from the man with war. He says, fantasy question. Who should I start?
Okay.
Marvin Harrison Jr. Or DeAndre Hopkins at the flex. I already have Jamar Chase and Terry McLaurin for my wide receivers. Marvin, I'm pretty sure Marvin and them got a pretty tough matchup this week.
I didn't know who they play.
I can go look that up right now.
Please do.
I would love to do that.
Who do you want?
The Cardinal. Who do the Arizona Cardinals play?
I'm pretty sure it's the Jets.
And who do the Chiefs play?
All right. The Cardinals
play
have
the
Jets at home.
And the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
I don't like that matchup with that secondary.
God, they play Denver, which is
damn
much better.
Where do they play Denver at?
At home.
God. You know what?
I'd play Marvin Harrison
here.
Jr.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
I'm thinking about playing DeAndre Hopkins. I would just little caution because it's a lot easier right now because of what Hop did last week.
Yeah.
I still want to kind of see another week of that, but I know Marvin Harrison Jr. will get his looks. All right, let's go to a $5 donation from Chief. What's up, man? I really need you guys to talk about Mike Gundy calling fans poor and losers.
Was that
negative?
True? Was that real?
But he is happy about Billy's news.
Was that real? I saw that. If it is real, that's, I don't know. It'd be like trying to get votes from somebody and calling them garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't. Look, Mike Gundy is a fire rod, right? He says funny stuff. You love the fit at Oklahoma State, but like that's a bridge too far. Number one, I hope you don't really think that. But even if you do really think that, saying that is abhorrently stupid.
This is from Outkick here. I'll read it quickly. Gundy said the following during his weekly press conference, according to Football Scoop. That's what happens in college athletics. It's just on the bigger stage where people can voice their opinion, and in most cases, the people that are negative and voicing their opinion are the same ones that can't pay their own bills. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not taking care of their own family. They're not taking care of their own job. but they have an obligation to speak out and complain about others because it makes them feel better. But then in the end, when they go to bed at night, they're the same failure that they were before, and they said anything negative about anybody else.
Damn, Mike.
That's bad.
Yeah,
That's bad. I didn't hear about this.
What?
What are you doing, man? Like that, the same year that you defended a DUI?
Dude, you can't say that.
Come on,
you can't
say that, defend a DUI and not run the ball with
Here's the thing,
Hollywood.
like if you would have said that to my face, we would have
It's on site.
Yeah, like I'm 10 toes down.
I can't believe this.
That is Mike Gundy's gotten away with saying a lot of stuff, and a lot of people like Mike Gundy, and I'm all for transparency, man, but I'm not for stupidity.
Like you've been the most disappointing team in college football
all year.
Right? And the worst that he's done as a coach, like he's had a lot of success, brought back 9 starters on each side of the ball. You've been terrible, and you blame the fans.
And some of these people maybe, and I'm not saying it's a smart choice, choose to pay for, I don't know, tickets to go watch you guys play as opposed to being able to pay.
Yeah, but your opinion doesn't matter.
Like that's a very ivory tower. That's like the opposite of who I think people think Mike Gundy. You can't have a mullet and say that. Like that doesn't go hand in hand.
Those things do not fit well. Let's go to a $2 donation from our cousin Eugene. He says, "I'm so happy Florida is keeping Billy. What a nincompoop. Thank you, Scott Strickland."
I had heard somebody get called a nincompoop in a while. I forgot that word even exists.
Let's go to a $5 donation from the Mizzou Man. Thank you, Scott Strickland. All right, let's go to a $5 donation from Horns Up. No. Thank you, Scott. Guys, stop, okay?
No, keep doing it. You're going to keep...
All right, let's go to a $5 donation from Serb. Serb, thank you. Not a Texas fan, but heartbroken to hear about Ben. Lauren gained a fluffy little angel today.
Yes,
Rest in peace, little buddy.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, man, that's no fun. All right, let's go to a $2 donation from the Hall. It says, GBO, thank you, Jake Strickland.
Dude, like, can this be the ultimate redemption story for Billy Napier, though? The laughing.
It's got to be.
They're pointing at you, laughing. I'm not talking about this week. Y'all ain't beating Texas. No, but next year, just set the scene. Can we go through Florida's schedule for next year? Can you just pull it up?
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Like, I just want to see what the arc would look like if it did work out. Like, what it would be. You have it? Hey, hurry up.
I'm trying.
Use that computer machine. Can you see it?
25.
You
put me on.
We may have to punt it.
No, we got time.
Like that chick from CSI, the show always finds what they ask her to find so quick.
Well, that's not a real
and that's
show,
way harder.
Dude.
Yeah, it is.
You ready for it?
I got it.
Look
No,
at David.
School's already. You got USF.
Two shakes
They took me to the basketball
Persian
schedule.
kittens.
Thanks, Scott Strickland. That's why you can't win shit. All right, let's go to week 0, USF. Maybe. You're at Miami. Florida A&M. What about y'all losers for that? Then Kirby comes and kicks the shit out of y'all at the cocktail party. Florida State. Y'all playing Florida State on the 29th?
I don't know if it's in order right
Yeah,
now.
I don't think it's in order.
Okay, then Mississippi State, you got Tennessee, Texas, Kentucky, LSU, Ole Miss, A&M. In the arms.
Yeah, you want to bring in somebody? I don't think Moses.
Why are we keeping them?
I don't think Moses can come in and do well. With
Moses is winning 9 games.
And even if he brought his staff with
They'll beat Florida A&M.
Yeah, the Rattlers.
Someone hired Jeb Fish.
Oh, they did. He's at Washington.
All right, I appreciate that's all the donations today, guys. We still have the poll if you'd like to get to it.
Yes.
Should Florida keep Billy Napier? Yes or no?
The way those donations
David, where are you? How bad?
70%.
I'm going to say no, 90%.
Yes, 53.
You're lying.
No way.
You're lying.
No, 40.
It was that tight, huh?
Percent.
Wow.
Y'all wild for wanting to keep this man. I'll never understand it. What has he done right?
It's because you want to know
What has he done right?
The adults are at the table.
No, they're not. Well, these adults were raised wrong.
Crunch.
Because they're ass backwards at this point. What has he won? What has he done well?
You and Mike Gundy have
Well,
so
hey,
much in common.
you're welcome at any time to pony up $26 million.
Yeah.
And get Scott on the phone and say, hey, here's the money you need.
Scott, call me. I'll fix it. Okay? Call me, and I'll find the guy to fix it.
Hold on now.
Scott
You got $26 million to throw around. I got some business.
I don't.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
Florida does.
It's like, no wonder you're making these big bets all the time. All right, we appreciate you guys. Got a great show for you tomorrow. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Great calls as usual today. Glad to be back in the studio trying to kill these hooks like Rufio. And like the chances of Blaine buying into the Billy Napier
I don't get it.
We're going.
That was nice.
Gone. Yeah. Tennessee's receivers, can y'all do that?